Free State Premier Sisi Ntombela is this morning leading a provincial intervention to prevent a total economic collapse in Phuthaditjhaba. The northeastern Free State township has been in the grip of a service delivery crisis for several years, and this has seen several major retail and hardware franchises threatening to pull out of the sprawling township. Newsroom Africa's Dumalo Muflaudi is in Phuthaditjhaba and joins us now live. Dumalo, very good morning to you. We're hearing of the inflation at a 13-year high. The matters of the economy are ones that are prevalent across the entire country.
Well, indeed, and this impact and this squeeze on the economy is felt even more succinctly here in Phuthaditjhaba. This is where basically the business community is saying that enough is enough, and they've taken as much as they can. They are facing many challenges. This would include, of course, from the lack of electricity, the electricity challenges. This is something that has been going on for several months, well into last year as well, and beyond that. Eskom has said on record that the Maluti A Phofung municipality's debt is something that it can no longer tolerate, and therefore this is also the problem that is exacerbating the rolling national power outages. It is basically Eskom saying that it can no longer afford to give electricity to the ailing municipality, and this is also affecting the businesses here, and not only because of operations, but it's causing a bloodshed of jobs. Water is also a key challenge here. The water crisis in Maluti A Phofung, particularly in Phuthaditjhaba, is also well documented. It's been running for the last couple of months as well. There were interventions that were brought at the highest office of the land, with Deputy President, of course, David Mabuza, also promising to intervene, coming to hear what the challenges were, and he had said that he would speak to the various stakeholders to try and find out what the issue is. But what this means for the local economy is that many of the businesses, this includes major retailers as well as those smaller private retailers that create the job opportunities here, and we're talking about tens of thousands of jobs. This has a knock-on effect because we know that those people who are employed in Phuthaditjhaba, which has one of the highest unemployment rates in the Free State, support extended families. So when one person loses a job, that would equal up to 12 to 15 other people that would then suffer the consequences thereof. So it is quite a dire situation. But to give us more about this, I'm joined by Mr. Nelson Meekwa, who is the chair of the Business and Community Development Association. Mr. Meekwa, how bad is the situation, and what are you planning to tell Premier Sisi Ntombela?
Okay. The situation for the longest of time, since 2016, has actually become worse. Because when we are looking at it, we talk about, we had 45 factories that were operational here that were under CMT, which is the clothing and manufacturing and textile industry. That industry was actually employing about 36,000 in 2016, but today, as we speak, they are only employing 8,000 people. And that is because a lot of companies have decided that they are going to move away from the area due to the service delivery disruptions that we face all the time. And that's why we said to the Premier, please, we need to come up with an intervention, so we need you to assist us to see where how best we can actually discuss and negotiate with Eskom as business people themselves, and then to see how best we can discuss with Destia or IDC, DTI, etc., so that we can see how we can literally assist businesses that are already here, that are still staying, to grow from the mess that we have been experiencing this past 6 years.
Okay. Mr. Meekwa, these past 6 years have been quite difficult. Personally, as a businessman, how have businesses been surviving? And with all these power cuts, with the lack of water, how do you make ends meet, and how do you keep your staff contingent going? Because you've been losing more than you've been gaining.
They don't survive leadership. That's why you'll find a lot of people will think that business people in Kotwa still have money, but it's not the case that they have money. They are actually now working just to survive. And that's where the problem is. So if you are working just to survive, why run a business? Why run a business? And that's why the people are saying they'd rather leave. And we are saying, no, don't leave, as the movement, to say, if you leave, what is going to happen to the rest of the people? And what is going to happen to the secondary and tertiary industries as well? So we are saying, no, we are not leaving. We rather come up with strategies together, because we cannot win this in isolation. Business people cannot decide to get off the grid alone, because it's going to impact the community as well. So whatever it is that we are saying today is the Premier must leave here with 4 things. Eskom must understand that in the economic zones cannot be disrupted. Number 2, DWS must understand that with mass employment, especially in factories, where you are employing, one factory employing 2,500 people, you cannot necessarily not be without water. That will create a serious hazard. And then we need IDC and the STEER and DTI to say what kind of relief are they going to come up with. We need the FDC on its own, which is the Free State Development Corporation, to assist with maintenance. If you walk around this industrial area, it doesn't look like an industrial area anymore. So what are we saying? What are they saying? It's not like they don't know about this problem. What are they saying? And that's exactly what we want to hear from them today. What are they saying and what are they putting on the table? They cannot come here and make this a talk shop. It's not going to work. We need interventions, and we need them in writing. We need some sort of, I don't know how to put it in a clear way. I think it's because I'm frustrated, but I need some sort of intervention from provincial and national government if it needs be. Because if the municipality cannot assist us, we have to move up the ladder until we end up saying, okay, with the little that we have, let's use it for court action. And that's as simple as that. That's where we are going to end up going.
What other social impacts has this situation created? We know that as business people, you can't keep your payroll to the levels that it was pre the 2016-2017 era. And that also adds to the crime situation, which you also incidentally suffer from as business people. Tell us a bit more about that.
Let me explain this. The crime in the industrial area has escalated. As we speak now, I just got a call that there was an armed robbery in Lidiboho. Still, the FDC, what do you call it? The FDC, yes, zone. So if they cannot assist us with security because of that, because I'm showing you the situation is far more worse than we realize. FDC, in terms of security of the industrial area, cables are being stolen every day. People are being robbed every day. A few shootings have happened here. So you can imagine a loss of life increases. Then when they kill employers, they kill the company as well. So this is worse than we think. And that's why we decided to bring them. We'll talk to them directly.
All right. Mr. Mekwa, thank you very much for sharing those challenges. That was, of course, Nelson Mekwa, the chair of the Business and Community Development Association, just detailing some of the challenges, some of the very real and stark challenges that business owners are facing here in Phuthaditjhaba. And this all spells bad news for the economy, because if these problems are not resolved, there will be a bloodbath of jobs, and this has a knock-on effect in terms of the broader society. Many people who are breadwinners are relying on these business people for their livelihoods and their families and extended families. So it certainly is something that would create a crisis of epic proportions in Phuthaditjhaba, which is already facing so many social problems. The crime situation is already a major challenge. This is also due to the issue of the lack of reliable electricity. And Eskom and the local municipality have been hard at work to try and resolve that matter, but the debt question is also a big contributing factor to the fact that Eskom says with the billions that it is owed by the Maluku-Aphofu municipality, it cannot keep the lights on, it cannot guarantee power supply. This is something that has been quite a conundrum for the last couple of years. So the business community is facing the forefront and the brunt of all these challenges and saying that it cannot survive any longer. So they're looking for answers from Premier Sisi Ntombela. I am told, I spoke a few moments ago to a spokesperson, Palisa Chibisi. She is expected here within the next hour or so, at least. The reason she was delayed slightly is because she started off at another matter, a court appearance. That is also related to the crime situation here in the Free State. So we will bring you the developing story as and when it happens, when she comes to, of course, address the business community here in Phuthaditjhaba. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
Very well, Tumalo Mahlaudi. Let's leave it there for now.